45 minutes, and because I do read some questions in between, so it takes our talk might take 45 minutes, but if you will go in deeper into their questions, if audience has too many questions, then it takes an hour. But we can wrap it up in 45 minutes if there is no question. But usually there always is a question. Brilliant. So we are live on YouTube. I can see myself moving. Brilliant. Okay, let's check LinkedIn now. Assalamualaikum, good evening everyone. If you are watching and you are here, please leave a comment so I know that you are here. So we can start. Yep. That's working. LinkedIn is working. Let's check Facebook. That's working too. Brilliant. We are live everywhere. Hi Rabia, how are you? I can see you. Please, anyone who's joining, leave a comment so I know you're here. Okay, we're not gonna wait any longer. Let's start, everyone. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. You know that we do this every Tuesdays. It has become a ritual now. So I'll welcome all of you to Unbox with SG. And this episode, just like so many other episodes that we have done, is about something that is happening around us. And there are people who are closing their eyes and are not accepting it or not admitting that this is happening around them. So this is very important that we talk about it today. And where we question about education, we question about the real skills that are needed in the market today. So today we are talking about something that is quietly reshaping the global economy. It's not your degrees, it's not your job titles. These are the digital skills we are talking about. Because whether we like it or not, skills have become the new currency. And joining me today is someone who is not just talking about this shift, but actively building pathways for young people to step into it. So I welcome Salman Mughal. He's the founder of ShellShift Pakistan, and obviously थोड़ी देर में हम सलमान से कहेंगे कि वो हमें डिटेल प्रोवाइड करें ShellShift पाकिस्तान की और किस तरह से रीशेप कर रही है ShellShift जो एजुकेशन है या टर्शरी एजुकेशन है या वोकेशनल एजुकेशन है या डिजिटल एजुकेशन है वो किस तरह से रीशेप हो रही है and this is an initiative focused on equipping youth with real market relevant digital capabilities. So Salman, welcome to Unboxed. I'm so happy you're here. We will get into how I know you at a later stage perhaps, but I think this would be the best opportunity for everybody who is joining right now. I can see some of the comments are popping in, which means people are now joining and watching us. So I would want you to please introduce yourself in detail, like what you are doing, how you are helping, and then we will start our questions related to the industry or the shift that is happening. Okay.
First of all, I would really like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. As we talked before about this, I have been very excited on getting on your podcast and sharing my thoughts with you. To introduce myself, my name is Muhammad Salman Mughal. I am an MBA in finance, but I currently am the CEO and the sole founder of ShellShift. ShellShift here in Lahore, what we are doing is we are giving opportunities to a lot of students, especially in the field of information technology. And what we do is we help them with specialization courses, in which we'll talk about them in detail later. But this is the nutshell that we are providing a lot of free education to a lot of students who deserve the care, the need, and the skill set that they want to get into a professional job place or marketplace. And I would also go ahead and say that some of the courses and some of the services that we are providing to these students, they're not getting these resources in their 4 year academic programs in the universities, which is a point of pain and contention that should not be happening, but it is. And my motto here at ShellShift is that we should provide these students with the equipment and skill set where they can excel in their IT careers moving forward.
Okay, thank you so much, Salman. Um, I want to start with our very first segment. हम क्या करते हैं सलमान, हम अपने एपिसोड को यूजुअली 2 या 3 सेगमेंट्स में डिवाइड कर लेते हैं सो दैट वी आर नॉट मिसिंग ऑन एनी ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स. सो द वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग दैट आई वाज व्हेन आई वाज मेकिंग माय नोट्स, I couldn't resist writing it, the shift we cannot ignore. That's the segment. And if we look at the bigger picture, everyone is using the phrase digital skills. हम किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूट के पास चले जाएं, they're all highlighting digital skills, AI, and all of that basically. But very few people truly understand the urgency behind it, or what exactly does it mean when you say digital skills. From where you sit, the position you are in, and the institution that you are running, and how you're helping the youth, what major shift is happening in these global skills that educators, parents, or other people are still underestimating. वो क्या चीज़ है जो उन्हें एक्चुअल में जो एसेंस है वो समझने की ज़रूरत है डिजिटल स्किल्स का, इंस्टेड ऑफ जस्ट थ्रोइंग द टर्मिनोलॉजी एट ईच अदर. व्हाट्स योर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ऑन दैट?
आई थिंक सबसे पहले और मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट है ग्लोबलिज्म, जिसको हमें अंडरस्टैंड करने की जरूरत है इन द सेंस कि दुनिया अब बहुत इंटरकनेक्टेड है. वी आर ऑल कनेक्टेड. You are in another country, I'm in another country, we're having this conversation and a lot of people can watch us and can hear us. ये तो मैं बहुत लेमन टर्म्स में बात कर रहा हूँ इन द सेंस के हम लोग कम्युनिकेट कर सकते हैं और जो बैरियर्स थे टू कम्युनिकेशन एंड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन आज से कोई 10-15-20 साल पहले, वो द विद इन्वेंशन इन टेक्नोलॉजी वो खत्म होते जा रहे हैं. ये तो बहुत बेसिक लेवल पे है. अब हम इससे थोड़ा आगे लेवल पे आते हैं. जैसे आप एक एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं, यू आर अ बिजनेसमैन, आप एक डॉक्टर हैं, आप जिंदगी की किसी भी फील्ड से आपका ताल्लुक है. अगर आप अपने आप को एक सर्टेन लेवल पे लेके जाना चाह रहे हैं, व्हाट आई बिलीव इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड एंड ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी, हम लोग आईटी के बगैर वो नहीं कर सकते. मैं आपको छोटी सी एग्जांपल देता हूँ. देयर आप एनीथिंग यू वांट टू सर्च अप एट अ वेरी बेसिक लेवल, आप चैट जीपीटी पे चले जाते हैं. चैट जीपीटी अगेन एज वी नो इज एन एआई मॉड्यूल जो कि बड़ा बेसिक लेवल पे आपके सारे क्वेश्चन के आंसर दे रहा है. अगर हम इसको एक प्रोफेशनल कैपेसिटी में ले जाएं और इसको हम इसकी एलिवेशन को, इसकी स्टैंडर्ड को रेज कर दें, देयर इज नो फील्ड आई बिलीव इन टुडेज मार्केट व्हेन इट कम्स टू प्रोफेशनल डेवलपमेंट लेवल जिसमें इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी और डिजिटल मार्केट प्लेस की जरूरत है. इफ यू आर अ मार्केटियर, आप ई कॉमर्स के बगैर सर्वाइव नहीं कर सकते. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Let's just say you are into the commodities business and you want to market and sell your commodities. वो भी आपकी सोशल मीडिया के प्रेजेंस के बगैर आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. अगर हम इसको टेक्नोलॉजिकली एडवांस ले जाएं, ये तो हम बिल्कुल बेसिक लेवल पर बात कर रहे हैं. आपने अगर वेबसाइट बनानी है, यू नीड इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी इन योर लाइफ. आपने अपने डेटा को सेव करना है, यू नीड इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी इन योर लाइफ. आपने कोई काम को रेगुलेट और मॉड्यूल्स को यू वांट देम टू बी रेगुलेटेड, you need information technology in your life. So there is no way I see, especially in the upcoming 10 to 15 years, that there is an innate need for digital marketplace to exist. And without it, I don't think we as human beings will be able to compete with other more developed countries if we are not able to be on par in the information technology world.
राइट. सलमान, एक चीज़ हम और भी स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं, जो एक ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल है जो कि डिजिटल स्किल्स की जो इम्पोर्टेंस है उसकी तरफ अभी नहीं आया और वो उसको रेजिस्ट कर रहे हैं. इसमें छोटे जो हमारे बच्चे हैं, जो हमारी न्यू जनरेशन है, इसमें वो लोग भी शामिल हैं और कुछ इसमें जो है हमारी एज के लोग भी शामिल हैं जिन जो जो इस चीज़ को मान नहीं रहे कि आगे डिजिटल स्किल्स के लिए अगर खुद को इक्विप नहीं किया तो आपकी मार्केट नहीं होगी. आप क्या सजेस्ट करते हैं उन लोगों के लिए जो अभी तक इसको रेजिस्ट कर रहे हैं?
देखिए, इसके ना मैं आपको I'll give you a very simple answer without making it a very complicated one. My dad, I gifted him a touch-screen mobile phone, and he still to this date he uses it like this. So instead of holding the phone in a proper way, he touches it like this, and when he's unable to figure out anything, he starts getting annoyed by it. So टेक्नोलॉजिकल जो एडवांसमेंट्स हैं वो किसी भी और एडवांसमेंट की तरह दे आर गोइंग टू बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू एक्सेप्ट इफ द टिपिकल हाइट बाउंड सोसाइटल वैल्यूज आर इन। ठीक है, अगर आप फाइल वर्क और पेन और पेंसिल के साथ काम करने की आती हैं और अगर आपको एकदम बोला जाए कि नाउ यू हैव टू स्विच टू Google Drive, it's not very easy to accept. And I don't just think that it's related to a particular age group or demographic. I think in general, change accept karna is a very difficult thing in life. Because this is something I personally believe in, that change is the only inevitable. It is going to happen whether you are going to accept it or not, whether you are ready for it or not. But it is going to happen, right? Uh, Inevitability को अगर आप पहले accept करके उसके लिए prepared रहें, I think that's the way to go. Other than this, I would want as someone who is in this field for the last 3 years and has been trying to raise IT awareness in this country, what I would say is कि थोड़ा सा please tech को उसको try to accept it with open arms. And this is especially a message to the elderly, क्योंकि आप young बच्चों को देखें 5-6 साल के बच्चे फोन पर PUBG खेल रहे हैं अभी भी. बिल्कुल. Now where there are negative implications of information technology, I would also say कि हर चीज के pros and cons हैं. बिल्कुल regulations कराएं आप. Bilkul, there should be regulated, controlled parental locks on tech because it can lead to certain negative things as well. लेकिन as parents, आप अगर उस चीज को रोकना भी चाहते हैं, what I would suggest is कि आपको पहले वो खुद आनी चाहिए. So you cannot know about a car unless you know how to drive.
Absolutely, right? Agreed.
So in order to even curb or stop something, you need to learn the mechanics of it. तो अगर आप tech को एक टैबू समझ के उसका दूर कर देंगे जी कि इसके सिर्फ डिसएडवांटेजेस ही हैं और हमारी यंग जनरेशन खराब हो रही है, किस तरीके से आप उसको समझ के उस यंग जनरेशन को ठीक करेंगे? क्योंकि आगे आते हुए सालों में आई डोंट सी देयर इज अ वे वेयर टेक्नोलॉजी इज नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर लाइफ in any shape or form. And I also again don't think that it has to do anything with demographics. I think awareness इतनी ज़्यादा हो गई है अब at this point where we are in February 2026, according to my knowledge and according to my research, in the next 4 to 5 years, I see a lot of AI replacing jobs. I see a lot of modules of cybersecurity and development and cloud computing doing tasks that we were supposed to do a long time ago. क्योंकि अगर हम एक जगह पे as human beings we can be at one place once, the tech can be there way faster than us.
True.
And जो काम हम 2 घंटे में मैन्युअली करते हैं, टेक में आप 2 घंटे में you can do a lot. So अगर आप इस चीज को मेंटली एक्सेप्ट कर लें कि एक इनएविटेबल चेंज है, ये आना ही आना है, जैसे आपने बूढ़े होने ही होना है, आप उसके बारे में कुछ नहीं कर सकते. You can use all the cosmetic products you want, you can do all the workouts, you can be very fit about yourself, but as time passes, you are going to age, right? It's an inevitable thing that is going to happen. Similarly, what I believe is कि जो आपकी डिजिटल स्पेस है, अगर आप उसको एक्सेप्ट जितना जल्दी से जल्दी कर लें, that is a very good initiative that you are taking towards the future. Is what I believe.
अच्छा, अब हम बात करेंगे क्योंकि मैं बहुत क्यूरियस हूँ एंड आई एम श्योर कि जो लोग अभी अटेंड कर रहे हैं दे मस्ट बी वेरी क्यूरियस अबाउट योर इंस्टीट्यूशन एज वेल. सो व्हाई शेल शिफ्ट? आप ऐसा क्या गैप था ट्रेडिशनल टर्शरी एजुकेशन में जिसको स्पॉट करके यू थॉट के लेट्स जस्ट स्टार्ट दिस वन एंड यू नो ऐसी क्या चीज़ थी जो you were trying to actually cover up that gap? वो कौन सा गैप था? और शेल शिफ्ट जो है वो इनफैक्ट इस वक्त कौन कौन सी क्वालिफिकेशंस ऑफर कर रहा है लोगों को, जस्ट सो यू नो इफ you never know, people might be watching this at a later stage looking for or searching for a diploma or a course or a certificate that will help them in their career or in their professional life. So please tell us more about ShellShift.
So basically, before answering your question, which is a very pertinent one, what I would say is normally I will relate to this to our country, Pakistan, and what I would say is कि यहाँ पे there's a standard of education, which is your matriculation or your O level, and then you go to your intermediate level, and then you go to university to specialize in something. अब मैंने एक चीज जो यहाँ पे रहते हो figure out की कि IT आपका वो field है which is generating the most graduates per annum. So if I just give you this a little bit of stats without making it boring, approximately 75 to 80,000 students are graduating per annually in Pakistan, and they are all IT students. You will be very surprised to know that the आपकी बहुत सेग्रीगेटेड है, इट्स अ वेरी टफ कंपटीशन, आपके पास एक सीट है जिसके अंदर 10 20 25 लोग अप्लाई कर रहे हैं। और फिर मैंने ये सोचा कि अगर आप एक फील्ड है जिसमें इतने ज्यादा लोग आर अप्लाइंग एंड दे आर गेटिंग ग्रेजुएशन डन, why are they not able to compete with other people or at a particular level? Like, why are they not able to reach those levels जो कि हमारे दूसरे counterparts from different countries have कर रहे हैं? और what I figured out was कि the most of the education that is being imparted in these 4 year programs of bachelor's in information technology or computer science, it's very generalized in a way. आप तब तक IT के फील्ड को, because it's a skill, coding is a skill, language is a skill, it's a language. आप if you want to go to Germany, you cannot expect to go to Germany without learning German A1 at the bare minimum. आप अगर चाइना जाके रहना चाह रहे हैं, आपको मैंडेट चाइनीज नहीं आती, you might be able to go there, but you won't be able to survive for a long time.
True.
So I figured out that there was a gap between people who were paying a lot of money, and like we have top tier institutions in Pakistan. आप नस को देख लें, आप नम्स देख लें, आप कॉन्सर्ट्स देख लें, आप फास्ट देख लें. These are like the premier crop of Pakistani universities, and even students from those places, they are very well versed in the general information जो टेक्निक से रिलेटेड है, but they're not very well versed कि हमने मार्केट में जाके कैसे परफॉर्म करना है. यहाँ पे दिस इज वेयर शेलशिफ्ट कम्स इन. हम लोगों ने एक इनिशिएटिव निकाला with the help of NAPTAP, which is a government regulatory body. What we were doing was we were focusing on students जिन लोगों को एक अंदर से चाह है that they want to compete at the higher level, but because of lack of resources, lack of awareness, their education record might not reflect the grades that they require to get a top tier job. We came in and we were like, all right, अगर आप हमें 3 महीने dedication के देते हैं, just 3 months, 90 days of your undivided attention, of you being punctual, and you making yourself this promise, not with me, because I'm not taking a single penny from these kids. You need to give me your word on this कि आप ये 3 महीने you dedicate to this. You will learn modules. You will. अब मैंने जो realize किया, because someone who's not from tech might not know these terms. कुछ fields and technology के जिसमें हम लोग आजकल आपकी website development उसमें आ जाती है, it's called JavaScript full stack. उसका front end है mean, उसका back end है learn. That is the basic way of developing a website. उसके बाद आपकी certified ethical hacking है, which is called cyber security. आपकी जितनी ड्राइव्स हैं, आपकी iCloud, आपकी Google ड्राइव, to be at the very basic level. आपकी जो जितना डेटा है आपका, अगर आप चाहते हैं वो लीक ना हो, that is where we serve you with this certified ethical hacking courses. फिर आपके आते हैं क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग के और डेवऑप्स के कोर्सेज, which are again networking based courses. आपके इंटरनेट आईपी मॉड्यूल्स ये सारे. देन ये तो उन लोगों के लिए था जिनकी स्पेशलाइजेशन थी कंप्यूटर की फील्ड से, की ऑब्वियसली बहुत एक सर्टेन लेवल की. उन्होंने बैचलर्स किया हुआ था, उन्होंने मास्टर्स किया हुआ था. फिर मैंने the other thing I thought was कि फॉर एग्जांपल एक बंदा लड़का आईसीएस करके इंटर करके ए लेवल्स ओ लेवल्स करके मेरे पास आ रहा है और वो शायद कोडिंग को नहीं समझता. उसकी जो जो बिल्ट इन लैंग्वेज है दैट इज नॉट रिलेटेड टू कोडिंग. तो उसके लिए मैं क्या, ये तो नहीं है कि उसको मैं बिल्कुल अब कंप्यूटर से उसको अवेयर ना करवाऊं या इन लैंग्वेजेस से उसको अवेयर ना कराऊं. तो उनके लिए वी लॉन्च्ड अ सर्टेन लेवल ऑफ कोर्सेज व्हिच वाज जस्ट अ बिट tier wise below the high tech courses which I just mentioned. इसमें हम उनके लिए SEO डिजिटल मार्केटिंग लेके आते हैं, जो कि मैं सोचता हूँ कि अगर आपका कोई भी बिजनेस है आजकल के दौर में, you need to learn basic levels of SEO. What SEO is, what digital marketing is, Meta, Facebook ads को क्या करते हैं, Google Analytics क्या करते हैं. Even the way we are on this podcast right now, if you wanted to market it, there's a certain level of SEO and digital marketing skill set that you would require.
True.
Then anyone who wants to sell their product online, आजकल आप मेकअप की बात कर रहे हैं, आप फैशन इंडस्ट्री की बात कर रहे हैं, अगर आपका ई कॉमर्स नहीं है, व्हाट इज शॉपिफाई? शॉपिफाई ई कॉमर्स. How is TikTok and Instagram generating all of this revenue that they're generating? Because of this, because of certain modules of e-commerce. आप अलीबाबा, दराज, ये सारे e-commerce modules हैं. तो इसके अलावा let's say आप क्रिएटिव हैं, you're not a part of the circle जो सिर्फ टिक 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 करना चाहता है बैठ के. You want to create something which is aesthetically pleasing. Graphic designing and visual art is for you. UI design is for you. आप Adobe सीखें, आप Canva सीखें, आप CAD सीखें, आप इसमें different Filmora सीखें, where you can learn different tools of how to make your work more effective. तो ये वो सारे modules हैं जो मैं लेके आया हूँ. And we are promising people that in 90 days, if you give us 90 days, I will also help you with internships and I will
Mm.
resources do not allow you to have a top tier education from a premium institute in Pakistan. अगर आपकी चाह है, if you have this passion about yourself and you want to do something for the country and you want to do something for yourself, my doors are open.
Brilliant. Thank you, Salman. And I have a question here. If I'm going to read that to you because you won't be able to see that. Can someone
All right.
from a non technical background succeed in digital careers?
Uh, yes, definitely can. कि मैंने आपको भी बोला, देखें, if someone is not from a technical background, I'm not from particularly from, as I told you, my master's is in finance. So I am not as per se a tech guy. I have learned, picked up certain things related to technology on the way. लेकिन आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि मैंने कोई ICS किया है, मैं सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर हूँ, मुझे 4 किस्म की कोडिंग लैंग्वेजेस नहीं आती हैं. What I do believe is कि अगर आप एक uncomfortable element जो आपका एक computer use करने का, and I think a lot of people, what I figured out, जो non tech से हैं, they get very scared when you give them a computer or a laptop, and they're like कि ओ हमसे कहीं गलती ना हो जाए, हमसे कहीं कोई वो miscalculation ना हो जाए जो हमसे नहीं होनी चाहिए.
Correct.
और वो जो एक डर है, वो जो एक डर है that hesitation that people have, I think that is stopping and hindering us from real work.
Mm.
Let's just think, but the doctor है जिसका tech से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं, he or she, they can at least work on selling their work. They can work on explaining their work online. They can learn how to market it, how to edit it. मैं आपको छोटी example देता हूँ. You've seen a lot of shorts. आजकल shorts का जमाना चल रहा है. You see a lot of shorts. Um, I know you would be a fan of cooking. If you've seen those 30-second clips of just people chopping up vegetables, chopping up chocolates, adding it to a jar, adding milk to it, and everything is very visually designed to make you stay there for 30 seconds and make you look at it. There is no way that that person who's a chef or who is very good at cooking is, there is no guarantee to say कि उस बंदे की जो background है वो technology की है. But either he's hiring or she is hiring someone
Mm.
as a graphic designer to do it, or they're learning it. A
True.
lot of YouTubers that I know, क्योंकि हमारा फील्ड है, हमारी बातचीत चलती रहती है, they learn this. And because AI ने चीजों को learn करना इतना easy बना दिया कि you don't need to go into the nitty-gritty details to learn everything. So answering your question in a nutshell, can a person with a non-tech background, education background, be successful in this industry? I think you're looking at one.
Brilliant. So, what I am going to do, Salman, there are people who have been saying things. I just want to acknowledge that they are here and we are looking at their questions. If there are any questions, please, this is the time you ask because I'm going to move into our third segment, which is usually our last one. And we have a lot of time that we can spend in answering your question. So, thank you so much for sending us the very first one. So, let me acknowledge Rabia. Let me acknowledge Irtaza. Let me acknowledge Adnan, Faisal. Um, if I'm not wrong, it is A.R. Chaudhary, if I'm not wrong. Then Kiran, Nadeem, RMG, and then there is RJ, Rafia, then there is Samir, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we are looking at you right now. We have Omar, we have Shabnam, we have Sam, we have Alina. So we are looking at all of you and the ones obviously who didn't put any comments because I won't be able to know if you are here until you put your comment on. However, if I go on my LinkedIn profile, I'll be able to see how many of you have signed up. So I'm actually looking at around 80 people or 80 plus people right now. So please, can you ask questions because this is a perfect opportunity when you can ask some questions. Um, I have another segment here, which is the last one, Salman, and I want to make sure that everybody is, taking something from this podcast or from this episode where we are talking about digital skills. Um, let's look forward now because at Unboxed with SG, we care deeply about what this means for real families, real people, real economies. If initiatives like ShellShift scale successfully, what changes do you hope to see in the youth workforce over the next decade? That's my one question. And once you are done answering, I'll then ask you another relevant question here. So what exactly, how are you imagining the workforce in the next decade?
All right, I'll answer this question in the most layman terms I can. Let's just say you have 30,000 rupees to spend. You go to the market, get a second-hand laptop which can just help you function on a browser, and you have a stable internet connection. If you have acquired a certain level of skill set when it comes to selling products, when it comes to learning the digital marketplace, आपने मेटा की एड्स को सीखा है, आपने गूगल एनालिटिक्स को सीखा है, आपको टिकटॉक का एल्गोरिथम आता है, आपको यूट्यूब का बैकएंड आता है, आपको एमएसएन याहू which are not relevant anymore but you get the gist.
True.
अगर आपको अपनी प्रोडक्ट को या किसी और बंदे की प्रोडक्ट को मार्केट पे प्रेजेंट करके सेल करना आता है, with that 30,000 rupees of laptop you can set at your home, you can pick up projects and you can work. That is the most easiest way to earn money without going outside, using public transport or public resources, uh, uh, investing yourself physically and mentally in something where you have to travel a lot. आप एक घंटे का travel करके जा रहे हैं, आप office जा रहे हैं, then you're listening to a lot of people, then you're coming back and you're just exhausted by the time you're back. What tech has done is, it has just eliminated boundaries. It has eliminated a lot of physical limitations that we used to put on ourselves. आप अगर आपको आपके आपके हाथ में स्किल है, अगर आपके हाथ में एक टेक्नोलॉजिकल लेवल आप इस हद तक पहुंच चुके हैं where you think कि आपको सिर्फ एक लैपटॉप और एक स्टेबल इंटरनेट कनेक्शन चाहिए, forget about job, forget about anything. I see so much potential in the freelancing market over the next 10 years that you will be very surprised to see people going to a physical place for a job. I'll give you an example. I have a friend, he's a very good friend of mine, he's also a gym buddy of mine. He's done a software engineering from past. So he has now clients from Australia, from the United States of America, from Canada, from Hong Kong, and from the Middle East, from the GCC. What I'm trying to say is that he has established all of this while being in Pakistan. He does not own a physical space in the States. He does not own a physical space in the GCC. What he's doing is he's hiring teams who are sitting in their retrospective countries. For example, he picks up someone who is a very good graphic designer and he's in Bangladesh. He's asking that guy to sit in Bangladesh but perform the chores that he wants to do here. Then he gets a guy who's a coder, who's a language expert, who knows how to write the algorithm on a WordPress or on a website. He's picking him up from India and he's signing him up here. So what has happened is he has an amalgamation, a collection of about 40, 45 people under his team who, for number one, he is responsible for all of their employment. तो तकरीबन गिनती के 15 से 20 बंदे उस बंदे ने अकेले एम्प्लॉय किए हुए हैं,
Mm.
and those people do not need to leave their house in order to earn a livelihood. Is what I'm
True.
trying to tell you. That they don't need to go get an apply a visa and go to another country, struggle for 2 years, and then come back, and then they come back to their family, then they go like, "अच्छा अब आपने 4 साल काम किया तो इसमें पैसे कमा लिया."
Mm. Mm.
But the point is, what do you need to reach to that level? You need, and according to me, you need two things. One, and most importantly, you need a desire and a passion to do it. Because if you don't have that, then you're just investing your time and resources for no good reason. Second, you need a good medium in order to learn those things.
Mm.
And I am not going to sit here and claim that ShellShift is the only medium where you can do it, but we are one of the mediums in this country which are willing to help you bridge that gap that you need to bridge in order to reach a certain level in your digital skill set.
Right. Salman, I have a couple of questions here. I think they've started coming in now. I have RJ asking, it is very hard to grow educational content. So you see, Salman, I come from an educational background, so most of my audience are educators. And you did say something which I think you need to elaborate now to answer her question. Remember, you were talking about how to market yourself, how to project your work online. So it doesn't have to be that you are a blogger or an influencer, but whoever you are, now you've got to position yourself in the market by using some of those skills. So she is saying it is very hard to grow educational content. Can you give some tips? And I believe she's talking about not just the content, she's talking about growing,
Tips. Yeah, yeah.
people are not
See,
really watching it. So she's trying to get
when
some tips from you. Yeah.
what I would describe, it's a very pertinent question to my field because we are not technically a software house, we are a DSP,
Mm.
which is again a training service provider. So I am from that emotion, that
Hmm.
अगर आप इफ यू आर थिंकिंग दैट आजकल के दौर में आप अपनी एक पूरी क्लास को गूगल मीट पे या जूम पे या स्काइप पे 30-40 मिनट की क्लास को सेल करने की कोशिश करेंगे टू योर पोटेंशियल क्लाइंट्स एंड कस्टमर, दैट्स नॉट the reason is you're not providing them enough entertainment to be entertained by the idea. But if you can add certain level of value in the form of entertainment, for example, आप websites पे जाते हैं, we go to a different websites, you go to a new website where you जहाँ पे आप एक spin the wheel लिखते हैं और आप spin the wheel लिखते हैं, type your email ID to get a 5% discount, and you just click on that spin the wheel and it has about 7 to 8 options. कभी वो 5% डिस्काउंट पे रुकेगा, कभी वो कूपन पे रुकेगा, कभी वो फ्री ट्यूटोरियल पे रुकेगा. That is infotainment. What that thing is doing is it's creating this dopamine rush in your mind that you're getting something out of it.
Hmm.
Another example of how to sell education would be instead of just making video snippets of what you're teaching or what you're doing in education background, what what is the main goal of education? It's employment. It's employment and employment where you can earn a certain kind of livelihood out of it. If you can market the idea that आपने एक student को पढ़ाया और that student is now progressively in the workforce contributing back to the economy. देखें, we can progress, but जो word of mouth marketing है, that is word of mouth marketing. अगर आप if you've done something for someone and they come back and they repay you for it in terms of how successful they are, I think वो अपने आप में self marketing है.
Correct.
You don't need to market them. क्योंकि अगर और मैं आपका स्टूडेंट आप मुझे XYZ पढ़ाती हैं and 5 years down the lane we meet or you see me successful, and if I just talk 2 or 3 lines about how Miss Seher was able to guide me and mentor me when I was younger, I don't think you need to market that idea. I'm marketing it for you, right?
True.
So the idea of your word of mouth marketing combined with your graphically enhanced skills, because again इसी बात पे आ जाते हैं, अगर आप if you cook something very nice but you don't make it presentable but the taste is again very good, how many people will be able to eat it by just looking at it? Until unless you don't make it aesthetically beautiful looking to the audience.
Hmm. True.
So and thirdly, again, my last point of infotainment. As long as information is not coming without the value of entertainment added to it, it's very difficult to sell something which is completely educational.
Hmm. So true. So, Salman, there's another question here, and I find this question very interesting. She's asking, Kiran actually works with me, and she's asking what skill is overhyped right now, and what underrated skill is quietly making people serious money? That's a very good question. I know why Kiran is asking because we have been planning.
Idea, I think it's
Yeah.
a very ballpark question.
Yeah, we've been planning, that how to earn some more money on the side, like a side online hustle.
All your friends के पैसे ज़्यादा कैसे बनाने.
Exactly.
As long as it's halal money, I'm all for it. So I'll start by saying what is one of the most underrated ways of making money is just making people believe in you, and it's a verbal skill.
Mm.
I'm not. This is not an IT based question. I will answer it as honestly as I can. If you can make someone believe in you by your actions, by your deeds, and the way you converse with them, still as human beings, we're emotional beings, right? After a certain level, after the logic has gone, after the technical element of it has gone, जब आप emotionally किसी को connect करते हैं, it becomes very easy for your brain to interpret them as a good source, as a healthy source of motivation and information. तो आई थिंक सबसे अंडररेटेड जो अभी भी है दैट इज पीपल स्किल्स. वो आई थिंक पीपल स्किल्स ही रहेगा. आप जितनी मर्जी टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट बना लें, आप जितनी मर्जी एल्गोरिथम्स लगा के अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी को बूस्ट करके सर्टेन लेवल पे ले जाएं, जो ह्यूमन एलिमेंट है, द ह्यूमन एलिमेंट, द बॉन्डिंग एलिमेट, आई थिंक दैट इज ऑलवेज गोइंग टू बी देयर. I will never say, I always say that tech and mankind, it goes hand in hand.
Correct.
आप सब कुछ टेक के वाले नहीं कर सकते, आप सब कुछ हमारे वाले, because we need help from tech, but tech needs us in order to close something. I'll give you an example. आप for example, आपने एक project पकड़ा, you picked up a project from Tokyo, Japan. It's a lot of money, and your algorithms have just the way you work, your history has told for the investors कि जी आप लोगों के पास you have the skill set to do it. But if you can't close the person with your vocal skills, with your verbal words, so how you're still at a risk to losing that particular project.
True.
So and
True.
I'm not here to be my next one.
Yep.
Yeah, so I know I'm not in the state, so I'll plead the fifth option.
So, Kiran, you're not going to get that answer. I believe we'll have to try all our skills, digital skills, to earn money on the side. So, you and I are partners in crime in that. We'll keep exploring. Alina asked a similar question, and I believe you have already answered, that before. But let's just take that question again. What are the most in-demand digital skills right now? You did mention
That's
that, but let's just.
I think yeah, I think this is the one question which is related to my work the most.
Mm.
I think number one, what I see is AI, deep learning, machine learning, जिसके अंदर आपके मॉड्यूल्स आ रहे हैं सारे, आपकी रेगुलेशंस आ रही हैं. मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ. फॉर एग्जांपल योर फेस recognition, your biometric, where
Mm.
you just give it an attendance. These are very small examples of what we can achieve in this. I'm a gamer. I love to game a lot. मैं gaming बहुत ज़्यादा करता हूँ, and I'm a lot into gaming. Uh, there's a term called DLSS. It's called deep learning super sampling. आपने ग्राफिक कार्ड लिया जो इतनी सी मेरे हाथ की डिवाइस है और वो एक कंप्यूटर से कनेक्ट होके आगे 5 से 10 जगह पे वीडियो स्ट्रीम कर रही है as a settled hub, as a settled system.
Mm.
How is it able to do it?
Mm.
Because what it's doing it is rendering AI.
Mm.
हम लोग AI को we just limited to Gemini AI, we just limit to Code AI, Node AI, we just limited to ChatGPT. अब हम फोन उठाते हैं, I'm an iPhone user, I pick up a phone and I go like, Siri, I want to do this. What is Siri? It's an AI module. ठीक है, तो आई वुड से कि एआई जो जितने भी मॉड्यूल्स हैं आपके एआई लर्निंग की और मशीन लर्निंग की, आई थिंक दैट इज नंबर वन. A very close number two which would be certified ethical hacking. Even Google in itself has the highest amount of ethical hackers. उसको ethical hacker इसलिए बोलते हैं क्योंकि they are counter hackers. वो hackers को रोकते हैं आपका डेटा लीक होने से, आपका ब्रीच होने से. Google and Apple are the two companies right now with the most amount of investment and work in this field of certified ethical hacking. Number three, I would say, is Power BI. It's a data analytics work जो कि बहुत हाई लेवल का है. अगर आप डेटा एनालिस्ट हैं, आप बहुत ज़्यादा काम कर रहे हैं जहाँ पे आपको इंफॉर्मेशन आ रही है, नंबर्स आ रहे हैं, जैसे आप एक सर्वे कंडक्ट करना चाहते हैं कि पाकिस्तान में कितने लोग हैं जिनकी जो इनकम है दैट इज मोर देन 100,000 rupees per month. So someone who's into data analytics would be able to do it way faster than normally someone grabbing a paper and pen and doing it. या कोई भी और module. Fourth, I would say that different modules of cloud computing are very important क्योंकि वो IP network को track करते हैं. अभी आप बैठे हुए हैं, you're sitting in another country, I'm in another country. You're generating another IP which is called internet protocol. I'm sitting in another country generating another IP called internet protocol. सिर्फ IP की base पे हम ये figure out कर सकते हैं कि where you are right
Exactly.
now. Let's just say that this connection was to be lost in transition or anything. Just by your IP, I can track you by your physical location and how in which geographical position you're sitting right now.
True.
So I would say AI machine learning is number one. I would say certified ethical hacking or any course in cybersecurity is number two. Power BI is number three, and cloud computing is number two. So these are the top four courses according to me in 2026 when it comes to digital space and information technology.
Brilliant. Okay, moving on to some more questions. And I'm so happy, everyone, that you are asking because that's why we have Salman here. And this is Kiran again asking, she's not giving up. Do you recommend building on rented platforms like Instagram, Upwork, or owning assets like email list or website? Yes or no? And if yes, why? And if no, why?
Yes and no. I would go with yes and no because I would say कि अगर आप if you build something without knowing how to generate traffic, you're in deep trouble because you're investing in a lot of time and a lot of money. What these third parties, let it be TikTok, let's say, वो क्या कर रही हैं कि they are उनके automatic inbuilt app built AI modules हैं. So if you can learn them first, get very good with them, get a grip of them, then you can shift to your own module. Now, for example, let's just say if I'm searching something which is related to working out, fitness, and protein and everything. मैं चीज रियलाइज करूंगा the moment I turn off Instagram or YouTube and then when I open it again, my entire search recommendation would be filled with that.
True.
क्या है वो? That is an AI algorithm which is working for me, right? अगर मैं उस algorithm को study करता हूँ proper तरीके से, and there are certain ways to do it, and Insta is very easy to explore. I don't think Insta. What I would give one advantage to Instagram is it has made marketability very easy. Instagram has. Facebook started it, then we went to, but I think का issue ये कि TikTok is limited to a certain niche of people,
True.
people who just want to be cool and want to enjoy two or three reels of infotainment or entertainment. Instagram is a platform जो कि अब आपकी मार्केट सेंस को एक और लेवल पे लेके जा रहा है. I think Instagram उसमें नंबर वन है. It has beaten YouTube, it has beaten Facebook, although it's owned by Meta. लेकिन Instagram के algorithms learn करना I think is very important. उसके बाद if you feel कि आपको एक जनरल नो हाउ हो गया कि how these certain ads are doing on, I'll give you a technical answer to this, just to add to Kiran's question. Google Analytics एक प्लेटफॉर्म है जो आपकी एड्स की रेवेन्यू जनरेशन मॉनिटर करता है. ठीक है, लेट इट बी योर यूट्यूब एड, लेट इट बी योर गूगल एड्स जो आपके आ रहे होते हैं. अगर आप गूगल एनालिटिक्स को एक महीना दें, and you don't need to go to a building, you don't need to come to ShellShift for this, but I would really be happy if you come to us. But even if you're not willing to come to us, if you just self study or do some R&D about what Google Analytics is, after 1 month, you'll be able to understand about 70% of how the ad system works.
True.
So, why I said yes and no instead of yes or no? अगर मैं yes and no कह रहा हूँ, इसका मतलब है कि पहले आपको वो प्लेटफॉर्म समझने की जरूरत है. And once you understand the ins and outs and the algorithms of that platform, then you can start building something of it.
True.
So my answer would be yes, and you should do both.
Well taken. I believe Kiran is now satisfied, unless she has another question. Um, Shabnam is asking, when we say the future they deserve, because that was the tagline for our banner when we publish your banner for this podcast. Um, the future they deserve. She's saying, what responsibilities do leaders and educators carry to turn that vision into reality for the next generation? So she's now bringing the responsibility back to leaders and educators. So, what do you think? Where do leaders and educators stand? This is because we have been talking to the generation right now directly, saying this is what you can do. You can come to us, or you can go to anywhere. But these are the skills you need to develop. But she's questioning, because I believe I know where this question is coming from. We feel that leaders and educators are kind of taking a backseat here, and they're not really
Yeah.
taking this entire journey forward. So, what are the responsibilities on them, and how do you suggest they should actually change their approach for leading and obviously educating?
I think leading is something which is a task in itself, or education, say as per itself, is not related to it. But if you're going to combine both of the facets, leadership and education, I think the number one most important thing, and it has nothing to do with tech, it has to do with confidence building. I think someone who's confident in their own skin is about 30% better than their previous version. हम लोग as teachers, हम लोग very focused on imparting knowledge. We are very focused कि हम लोगों ने जिस syllabus के TLM है, which is the teacher learning material, हमने वो complete करवाना है. हमने point A से point Z पे move करना है. And on somewhere along that spectrum of A to Z, what we fail to do, even I'll consider myself into this because this is my line now. We don't impart a lot of confidence into our youth, because how young people learn is they learn from classic conditioning. They see you do something, and then if you're doing something which is more positive, they'll learn from it. आप बच्चों को देख लें, they look at their parents, and if the parents are having a debacle or a fight with each other, you will understand that the kid would necessarily react to situations with annoyance. But if the parents are very amicable with each other and they have proper solutions to problems, आप देखेंगे कि उन बच्चों की grooming भी बेहतर होती है. So classical conditioning is not only a job of the parents. I think it's a huge part of educators, of leaders, कि आप उसमें ये instill करें confidence level along with the skill set कि you need to believe in yourself. As long as they're not believing, आप उनको पढ़ाई जा रहे हैं, आप उनको कह रहे हैं कि अच्छा हम आपको ICS में कंप्यूटर की बेसिक चीजें करवाएंगे, फिर आप जब बैचलर सॉफ्टवेयर टेक्नोलॉजी में करोगे, आप जावा पढ़ोगे, आप मीन पढ़ोगे, आप मर्न पढ़ोगे, आप रिएक्ट पढ़ोगे, आप इस तरह के डिफरेंट मॉड्यूल्स पढ़ोगे. अब वो बंदा 22-23 साल का हो गया जब वो यूनिवर्सिटी से बाहर निकला. बट द पॉइंट इज he or she has never been in a real marketplace. उसने कभी अपवर्क पे काम नहीं किया, उसने फाइवर से प्रोजेक्ट नहीं उठाया, उसको नहीं पता कि मार्केट कैसे ग्रिल करती है आपको. So if you're not preparing the student or the candidate mentally for that switch that happens when you go from the education to the real marketplace, I think it बहुत बड़ा hindrance है उनके लिए. And a lot of people I see, they're very scared, leaders and us as teachers, as mentors and guiders, what we need to do is we need teach and impart skills जो market focused है. मैं for example देता हूँ. मैं Mr. Chips पढ़ा. When I was in my intermediate, I did Mr. Chips, and I had a lovely conversation with my cousin the other day, who is about 14 years older than I am, and I was like, "भाई आप क्या पढ़े थे intermediate?" When he goes to Mr. Chips, and then I asked a guy who was 5 years younger than I am, and I asked him, "आपने क्या पढ़ा इंटर में?" And he goes like Mr. Chips. My point is, if three generations are reading Mr. Chips, I'm very happy. Allah का बहुत शुक्र है कि actually Mr. Chips को निकाल दिया intermediate में से. Not that I have anything personal against him, but the
Finally,
point is,
Mr. Chips, rest in
हाँ,
peace.
Mr. Chips अगर आप एक ही डॉर्मेंट किस्म की नॉलेज को अक्रॉस मल्टीपल प्लेटफॉर्म्स और अक्रॉस मल्टीपल जनरेशन पढ़ा रहे हैं, प्लीज मुझे बताएं कि चेंजिंग मार्केट स्किल्स को आप कैसे किस तरीके से बनते हैं. Like it's very difficult for my brain to interpret this information. देखें, अगर आप अभी भी वेबसाइट वर्डप्रेस से बना रहे हैं, कोई भी बंदा वर्डप्रेस वेबसाइट बना सकता है. When will you find out the time to learn backend and forend of JavaScript? When will you find the time to learn proper coding? आप किस टाइम पे ये रियलाइज करेंगे कि जो बंदा मार्केट में बैठा हुआ 2.5 लाख रुपए कमा रहा है in PKR and you are just getting software freelancing project worth 20 to 40K, देखेंगे वो क्या डिफरेंट कर रहा है. वो डिफरेंट ये कह रहा है कि वो टेक स्पेशली कैसा फील्ड है जिसमें अगर स्पेशलाइजेशन किसी एक पर्टिकुलर नीश में नहीं है, यू कैन नॉट एक्सेल एट इट. It's not a verbal skill. It's not a verbal skill. It's a technical skill. You need to get to a certain level in order to do it. And if you, अगर आप जनरल बॉल पार्क में आप कहते हैं कि मैंने 4 साल की अपनी डिग्री हासिल कर ली कैपिटल यूनिवर्सिटी से, मेरे पास अब एक सर्टिफिकेट आ गया जीपी का, मैं मार्केट प्लेस में जाऊंगा and I'll be able to earn a very good livelihood. I hate to be the one to break that bubble. That's not true. So it's upon the leaders and it's upon the teachers to impart this knowledge कि क्या चीज है जो मार्केट ट्रेंड का हिस्सा है, और जो चीज अभी मार्केट ट्रेंड का हिस्सा है वो आज से 10 साल पहले नहीं होगी और आज से आने वाले 10 साल बाद होगी. Because the market, what happens is it keeps on changing. As I mentioned in the beginning of this conversation, कि change is the only inevitable, I believe. कि जो चीज होनी है वो चेंज है, हमने पूरा होना ही होना है. Time is going to pass one way or another. Similarly, trends they stay and then they go.
True.
So अगर आप ये दो काम कर रहे हैं, आप बच्चे में कॉन्फिडेंस प्रॉपर इम्पार्ट कर रहे हैं, उसके अंदर बिलीफ सिस्टम लेके आ रहे हैं, उसको सेल्फ सस्टेनेबल लेके जा रहे हैं. तीसरी while we're at it, हमारे यहाँ पे ना होल्डिंग हैंड्स का बहुत कॉन्सेप्ट है. We hold hands with our kids and our
Oh, absolutely.
और होता क्या है कि they are unable to identify their own self identity. So when they reach, I look at 20-25-year-old people in this country right now, और जब वो स्टूडेंट मेरे पास आते हैं and they go like मैं तेरा मामा को कॉल करके बता दूं और मैं तेरा अपने घर वालों को इन्फॉर्म कर दूं कि मेरी नेक्स्ट क्लास है. You're 22-23 years of age. Very good. You're keeping your parents in loop. Great. You're telling them that you're secure, you're safe. Great. But I think this is the amount and this is the time, your early 20s, where you need to figure out कि अब आपकी जिंदगी is going to be your life. This is a pattern that you need to walk on. And teachers need to play a huge role in telling those people कि hand holding नहीं होने वाली. Hand holding नहीं करनी. The hand holding is done. Now the world is your canvas and you need to find out and carve out your own path.
True. Salman, we have Adnan asking us, what skills should we learn right now that will give us an advantage at the international level, not just in Pakistan, obviously. But
Very simple question.
yeah,
But I'll answer it very simply. I think AI, as I mentioned, आपको किसी हद तक AI modules आने चाहिए. A lot of free tools are available on the internet for you to study. You don't need to go to a physical space. The IT की खूबसूरत चीज आप अपनी बैठ के कुछ करने की. You can do it in your bed. You can do it in your lounge. You can do it in your office table. You can do it wherever you want. I think AI modules are number one. Number two, I would go is any form of digital marketing concept which is related to SEO, because how will you be able to sell your product. और तीसरी I would say is कि आपको किसी हद तक basic levels of e-commerce आने चाहिए. क्योंकि ये तीन मैंने चीजें इसलिए स्टेट की ये तीनों चीजें एक नॉन टेक बंदे के लिए भी काम करती हैं. आपको वेबसाइट बनाने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. Let's say you own a business, you can pay someone to make a website. But उस वेबसाइट से जो रिजल्ट फील्ड हो रहे हैं और जिस तरीके से आप उसको सेल करके देखें, आपने वेबसाइट बनाई, आपने उसमें एड चलाया, आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट की, you're putting money from your pocket into the other person's pocket, which is Meta or YouTube or Google. वीडियोस आने चाहिए एंड ई कॉमर्स जस्ट इफ यू आर इनटू द प्रोडक्ट बिजनेस आई एम इक्वल रिस्पॉन्सिबल इफ यू आर इन द सर्विस इंडस्ट्री एज वेल एज द प्रोडक्ट कमोडिटी इंडस्ट्री अगर आपको ई कॉमर्स की बेसिक वैल्यूज नहीं आती यू विल बी लेफ्ट बिहाइंड इन द नेक्स्ट 5 years.
Um, I want to thank everyone for asking all those questions. And there are some beautiful comments as well, Salman, and you deserve to know those. We have a comment here saying a truly inspiring conversation. And they are saying it reminds us that the future is built by the choices we make. We also have Muhammad. We also have Muhammad. Whoa, why is it saying end stream? Did I do something? What happened?
See, as I mentioned, text is very important.
Yeah, it said end stream. Don't worry, we'll start again. Just give me 1 sec.